Hey friends, welcome to today's video. Today is going to be the greatest day of your life. I had a wonderful evening last night with my spouse, and we met with a friend who's a financial advisor friend of ours. They help with money and other aspects that we require assistance for and advice. And as we were having conversation at dinner, we broke out into this wonderful conversation that garnered me a greater understanding of economics. They said that the reason the rich are so rich was because they managed to spend less money. And I thought to myself, well, that doesn't make much sense. And they said, let me give you a hypothetical example, Doug. Let me give you a pie in the sky example. It's not a real example, but it's a representation of our current economic infrastructure and how there's a divide between the rich and the poor. Take boots, for example, he said. Say that somebody earned $38 a month and a really good pair of leather boots cost $50. But an affordable pair of boots, which were sort of okay, cost about $10. Those were the kind of boots that most people will buy, right? They'll go to a large brick and mortar store and they'll pick out what they can afford, and usually it's not the Louis Vuitton boots or some other high end, so that kind of made sense to me. So then he said, but the thing was that good boots last for years and years. A man who can afford a $50 pair of boots that'll keep his feet dry in 10 years' time buys those, while a poor man who could only afford a cheap pair of boots would have to spend $100 on boots in the same time frame and probably still end up having wet feet. Those boots fall apart. So I think what the point he was trying to make was that people who have money to spend a little more upfront often end up spending less in the long run. A $50 pair of boots that lasts 5 years essentially costs you $10 a year, right? But if you can only afford $10 up front for a pair of boots that last 6 months, that's what you buy, and you end up paying twice as much over a 5-year period. Now, as he went on, I mean, he made a good point. He's got my ears. I'm actively listening. I'm making eye contact. I'm totally into this conversation. He's making excellent points. He then said there's so many other areas in which this principle applies when you're poor. And I want to preface this. I grew up extremely poor. My dad was killed in an accident when I was 9 years old. He was crushed by a caterpillar on a construction site. My mom basically gave up on life after my dad passed. And I was the youngest kid in my class, so I was always a little bit smaller. And I would always get the hand-me-downs from all my friends' moms. When my friends' when they got new clothes, I would get their old clothes, but those would be new clothes to me. And of course, you know how that goes. People make fun. They're like, hey, I want my jeans back. Why don't you give me my shirt back? Hey, Doug, that shirt looks familiar. Kids are mean, But, and we didn't really have a lot. We were on WIC, and my mom received benefits from the state. And, and that's probably one of the reasons why a lot of the work that I do and our organization does benefits the state welfare infrastructure. We do a lot of state government work, and I'm trying to make welfare better and more easily accessible in America and more cost affordable for the state so that they can provide more benefits to the people. I suppose that's probably where that comes from. But I will tell you that, and why I'm charity-minded, because I know what it's like to struggle and have hard times. But this gentleman continued to make good points to me. He said buying in bulk saves you money over the long run, but you have to be able to afford the bulk cost up front. A reliable car that doesn't require regular repairs will cost more than a beater, but if the beater is all you can afford, then that's what you're stuck with, and usually you're stuck with costly repairs. It'll cost you time, it'll cost you effort, and you'll likely spend the same or more over time than if you bought a newer, higher quality car. But without the capital or the credit rating to begin with, you don't have much choice, right? You can do what you can do. People who can afford a larger down payment pay lower interest rates, saving them both time, and it saves them also money immediately and over the long run. People who can afford to buy more can spend more with credit cards, pay off the balances, build up good credit, and qualify for those lower interest rates. And I was never that guy growing up. It wasn't until my late 20s when I finally got my stuff together. And I tell you what, and there's a lot of good financial decisions and strategies one can utilize if they have the ability to build up some cash. But if you're living paycheck to paycheck, that's hard to do. I'll tell you what it is. It's super difficult, and we're just climbing this financial ladder, But here's the deal. The financial ladder is there, and you have people out there giving financial advice. Do this with your money, do that with your money. Well, that all sounds great if you're born on that ladder. You can make all kinds of pronouncements about how to climb it, good sound advice. It probably really does work if you have money and the means. But for the majority of us who don't have or haven't or didn't have that means, that advice is pretty much useless. And, and I'm telling you right now, it's expensive to be poor in America, and it's completely unfair, and it's unjudicious. And I disagree with the way things are structured. But you know what? The way that I combat this, or the way that I work through my understanding, is to offer free advice. It doesn't cost anything to put some good information into your mind. And I tell you what, it doesn't matter what your goals are. It doesn't matter what you want in your life based on where you are right now. Set the goal. Start working towards that goal. And as long as you're headed in that direction, you can do nothing but get to the goal. Change the programming in your supercomputer. Go from a poor mindset to start thinking more along the lines of a rich mindset or a wealthy mindset, I would say. And we're doing that. We're working. We're staying more positive. We're rewriting the programming in our minds so that we can be more successful with money, relationships, our work, whatever it is we want to accomplish in our lives. And this all comes to us free. If you can't afford to buy the books that I recommend or the books that are recommended within the self-help premise, you can go to the library. It's free to check books out at the library. It doesn't cost anything. And that's the whole deal. All of these self-help programs that cost money and all that, and they're just giving you information that you can get for free already, okay? I just want you to know that before you go out and spend a dime. Keep in mind the majority of that information is available free. You can Google it, you can go to the library. All of the information that I'm giving you is not my information. This is information I've just taken from some of the greatest sources, from experience and from conversations with people who are a billion times smarter than I. And I tell you what, anybody can self-develop. I came from being I was on SSI, disability, half of my body paralyzed in a wheelchair, thought my life was completely over. I changed my programming. I decided where my goal was. My goal was to get out of that chair and have a better life. I wanted to live past the age of 30, which the majority of doctors said I would not. And I wanted to have a wife, and I wanted to have kids. And those are goals that I had. I wanted to own a business, and I wanted to employ people and provide benefits and help people to grow. And I'm doing those things now with my life. Those were all goals. You can do the exact same thing, no matter what it is that you want. You just have to set the goal and go out there and get it. If you don't know how to set a goal, the first 30 videos that I put out there on this channel walk you through day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 1 through day 30 on how to set goals and achieve them. It's free information. Every single day I'm coming back here on this channel and I'm trying to talk about different ways we can better ourselves. And it's all free information. I just want to help you because I know there is a wonderfully amazing, unique individual within you that has capabilities that are far beyond what anybody else can see and what you can individually imagine. I know you can do it. I believe in you. I care about you. That was just a cool story that I heard last night. It was kind of an interesting justification for the comment that this gentleman had made. I just wanted to share it today. I hope you all have a fantastic day. I'll be back tomorrow with some more great stuff. I care about you. I believe in you. And I know you can do it. Have a great day, friends.